All right, fifth game of the season, Merseyside Derby. One team, 100% record, top of the table. The other team coming off a massive loss. We've heard that before somewhere, but it's the other way around right now. Everton top of the league. I mean, you can't go anywhere on social media without an Everton fan chiming in with jokes. They've been excellent. Liverpool, shaky performance against Villa. What are you expecting from this game? Are you more nervous than you have been in previous Merseyside Derby matchups going in?
I'm just as nervous because this is the fixture I look forward to the most when it comes out. Merseyside Derby, then the games against Manchester United, then against Arsenal, Tottenham, Manchester City. That's it for me. So I'm always a little nervous, but I'm more nervous, I would say, this season because of the start they had. I mean, for once, they've got themselves a really decent manager and they've got themselves a squad of very good players. And unfortunately, they all look really happy together. It's behind closed doors. I think that benefits them at the moment because their fans do get a bit edgy and they're not going to... They do get edgy. When it's not going well, they get a little bit edgy and they're not the only fans to do that. I think it'll benefit them. They look like a team who just want to play football at the minute and we've just been absolutely whipped. So there is a recipe for disaster. I'm just hoping that Liverpool have got a point to prove. Do you remember when we won the title and Manchester City said, hang on, we're still a champion.
Yeah.
We're not champions just yet. And they battered us. That's what I want us to do to Everton, to say, all right, you're doing pretty well, but just remember who we are and spank them. Now, if that happens, great. If it doesn't, then they're due a win, Keith, at some point. I can see it being this season, maybe.
Yeah, for me, it's funny because, I was going to joke that Everton fans, who knew it was their fans in the stadium that was holding them back all these years, because once they're not there, they're buzzing and flying. But I think Everton the last few years have caused Liverpool trouble in these games. I know we had the big win last year at Anfield, but going away from home, it's always been an issue. Even some of the home games under Klopp, it's been a real battle because Everton have defended and made it difficult. I think this Everton team are a little bit more open. I think they want to go forward. They've conceded goals in games as well. I think if you play that way against us, okay, forget the Villa performance, but in general, if you play that way against us, it's a recipe for disaster. So if Everton come out and are saying, we're unbeaten, we'll take the game to the champions, I think Liverpool win this game. But again, I know people will say, oh, it's a 2-week window. Klopp would have loved to have the players straight away. I think maybe a collective breath for Everton to all of a sudden look back and say, hey, we're doing really well. They would have wanted the game quickly because the momentum was good. I think the break might have been a good thing for us as well. I'm just interested to see what that midfield mix is going to be for Liverpool because I think Henderson definitely comes back in. It's a given. It's, a captain. You want that in the derby. Matip, if he's available, probably comes back in. But do you play Thiago? Do you play Thiago from the start for his first start in a Merseyside derby, which is, again, a different game to what you see in other countries? I mean, what are your thoughts on what the lineup is going to be?
I'd like to see Thiago start because Ancelotti knows him and he knows what he can do. Obviously, he's coached him before, so he knows his ability. I think if he's named on the team sheet, he may try and combat that. Now, if he does that, he'll leave the two fullbacks wide open to have a field day, which is what we want. We either want position managers to block the fullbacks and let Thiago have the space, or we want them to block Thiago and let the fullbacks have the space. So if he does one or the other, brilliant, it play into our hands. But I'm just a little worried that they would be the third team that has said, we're going to take you on. And Leeds were a handful.
Yeah.
Nightmare. I think Everton could be, but I know we talked about a Bundesliga in the past. For me, this is a Bayern Munich Dortmund game. Dortmund, when they play Bayern, they play the stadium, they play the badge, they play the history. They don't play players in front of them. And I think Everton have been guilty of that in the past. They've played Liverpool, the whole product. They've not played the 11 players in front of them. And by the time they've worked out maybe we could beat them, we've been 1 or 2 or 3. So I'm hoping that happens again. But this could be a cracker. I mean, a 0-0, drawing again there, 0-0. At this minute in time, a point away from home at the league leaders is a decent result.
Don't call them that. Don't call them that again, Chris, please. We're not having that here.
I just don't want to get beat. I just don't want to get beat by Everton. If we come away with a point, I'll say that's a point gained. But that would be 1 point out of 6. And, retrospectively, that's not very good.
Chris, this is the psychiatry room. You're not allowed to say, I just don't want to get beat by Everton. We want to attack Everton. This is like, they've had a good start to the season. It's a really small sample size. My message to Everton fans is there's only one thing worse than no hope, and that's some hope. And I can sense the hope. I can sense the belief. And I think, Liverpool as a team sense that as well. And that brings a newfound energy to, they think they're better than us. All of a sudden, Liverpool have a little bit of a chip going into the game. I fancy Liverpool to win this one. I think it's going to be 2-0 us. I think Thiago will play. I think he'll be key. But the most important thing for me, I want to see in this is Klopp made a point. He said in the other games, deflected goals, but we didn't really commit to blocking shots and we were late. I want to see Liverpool fully committed to every challenge in this game, fully understanding of we got to become Premier League champions by being aggressive, by working as a team. Went away from that against Villa. I want to see that again against Everton. If we do that, man for man, I don't think there's a doubt we're a better team and we get the win. And you've got to stop calling them leaders and you've got to stop using the word worried. It's scaring me then.